Hello everyone, let's talk about layouts in Next.js. So every time you create a React application, in your app folder, there is usually a layout file, layout.js file. What this file does is it controls the entire project. Now a layout file is just a file that controls what happens in a certain part of your project. But now we have a root layout file here. So this would control everything that goes on in this project. What that means is this now. I have a page.jsx file that says hello world. On my browser, I'm seeing hello world here. I have an about route that is saying about us as well. So I want to navigate to this route. So I'll just do a slash about like that. And then I am seeing about us here because I'm in the about route. If I go back to the home page, I'm seeing hello world. On modern websites, we have a navbar that is consistent across different pages of the same website. Now that's where layouts come in. Every time we define a file in our layout.js, what we are saying is I want that file to be consistent throughout the entire project. So if you look closely at this file, certain fonts were declared here. That's why the font on all our pages are the same, coming from here. If you also look at our metadata that was declared here, it will also remain consistent throughout the various pages in this project. Even if you create a new route, these things will still be the same as long as they are inside this same project. So what I want to do now is I have a nav.jsx file with basic styling. I'm using Tailwind. I just gave it a blue background, a white text, and padding that says this is my navbar. Now I want to ensure that this navbar is consistent across my landing page as well as my about us page. And I know that every time we make a change in the layout file, it controls the entire project. So I'm going to come here and make that change. But let's talk about children. Now, children here is just saying the components that are inside, or rather that are available in this layout.js file. That's why after we destructured children here, we then called it here as children. Meaning that children would point to our page.jsx, point to the about us route. If you have another route like say learn route or contact us route, is also going to point to that. So I'm going to come to the top of children following static positioning and import the nav that I created. And this nav is coming from my component folder. So my import statement was correct, nav, like that. Once I do this and I come back to my browser, you realize that I have that my navbar now showing up on the landing page, that layout. So if I even come to the about us page as well, the text here will change to about us, but the navbar remains consistent. So every time we want to design a file, a function, font, or anything at all that we want consistent across different pages of the website, we put them in the layout file. But what if we are designing something like a two-user website where we have things like the admin and other users, and we want the admin's part to have a certain design different from the other part? Then we could also define our own layout file based on the route. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a route. So inside app, I'm going to create a folder called admin. Now inside the admin route, I'll create another one. I'll just call this one dashboard like this. So I'll then create the file of dashboard, and that's going to be page.jsx file. So I'll just export something. Export default function. And I'll call this admin dashboard. Admin dashboard like that. Okay, export was wrong. So that's fixed. Export. Then I'm going to return something. Return a main element. Return a main element that says this is admin dashboard. So I would navigate to this route now on my browser, and the folder is located inside an admin folder, inside a dashboard folder. So that's admin dashboard. So in here, it should show me the text that says this is admin dashboard. But what if on admin dashboard I do not want to show this is my navbar? So what I'm going to do is I'll come back to the main layout file and remove and comment out navbar so that I just have access to this. And on this route now, that's on the admin route, I'm going to create a layout file for the entire thing. So layout.jsx, I'm going to call it jsx just so that I'll differentiate it from the landing layout.js. So I will export something as well. Export default function admin layout. So I return something. Return a main element. Now, the way layout works is this. Just like we have these children here pointing to everything inside the project and these children here, I'm then going to come back to my layout file and also pick children. But this time around, the children here would not point to the entire project. These children will then point to everything that is inside of my admin page, because the layout is inside admin route. So if I create another route here, let me call it panel. So I have admin dashboard, I also have admin panel. Let me now do a page.jsx and I also export something here. Export to default function admin panel, just like that. I'm going to return a main element that says this is admin panel, just like this. So the children here now is pointing to both dashboard as well as panel, because they are both nested inside of the admin route, and in the admin route is where we have our layout file located. So in here I'll just come and pass in children like that. So what I want to do is I want to now design another navbar for just admins. So in my component folder, I will then come and create a new file and I'll call this one admin nav dot, okay, let me use proper camera casing or Pascal dot .jsx, just like this. Then I'm going to export something again. Export default function admin nav. Okay, I'm going to fix that. Good. Just like that. And I'm going to return a main element. So this is my admin nav, and I'll just say admin nav, and I'm going to give it a class. Okay, bg, set that to red 600, set the text to white, and give padding on all grounds. So if I want this admin nav now to remain consistent throughout my dashboard file and my panel file, I'm just going to import it in layout here at the top of my screen. So admin nav, going to import and give it a closing tag like that, so that when I check out my browser, okay, this is the right thing, I will then see admin nav on my admin dashboard. Now let me move on to admin panel. I would also see the same admin nav on my admin panel. So the idea of layout in Next is it helps us control everything that happens in a certain part of our project. And the first layout file you usually meet, the layout.js, would control the entire project. Then we can now choose to create individual layout files to control certain parts of the full project. So that's Next.js layout. And with that, we could even create another route apart from admin, possibly a users or a super admin if we are building a 3-user web-based application, and create another layout file for that one, for that user. So that's just it.